Hi everyone, look what I have. They're tomatoes. I think that was probably pretty obvious. Well, today I'm going to give you an update on the progress in my garden, specifically with all the tomatoes that I've been growing. If you've been following along, you probably know that this is my first year attempting to grow larger sized tomatoes, and everything's been going pretty well. In this past month, there's been a lot of action. We are the last week of July now, so this is kind of prime tomato time. Everything is coming up and starting to ripen, and I've learned a couple of lessons. First, I want to talk about some of the different varieties that I've been growing and what's been going on with them. So I've only had experience in the past couple years growing cherry tomatoes, and did those wouldn't be one of my videos without the tripod falling over. Anyway, I grew a bunch of cherry tomatoes last year in the greenhouse. They did pretty well, but it was just too hot in there. There wasn't enough pollination, and this year I have a much larger space and more room to grow just big tomatoes, which I was excited about because I do love tomatoes. So I chose several different varieties, and I planted a lot more seedlings than actually have kind of survived into the growing season, but I'm going to highlight 3 of them. So the first of the larger variety are Cherokee purple tomatoes. These are the largest that I'm growing. I'm growing a couple other heirloom varieties, but they are not really ripening yet, so I'm not going to talk about them too much. But the Cherokee purples have been doing very well. I got really excited. I was just watering them so much. We were up in Vacaville, California. Traditionally, there's not a whole lot of rain this time of year, and there hasn't been any. So all of the watering has been dependent on me watering. And I got, the plants got really big. I got really optimistic, and I just watered them a lot. I don't know how much, but apparently it was too much, because what was starting to happen, here's an example. I had a lot of splitting going on. So as you can see right here around the stem, from what I know, when a tomato gets watered too much, it kind of just grows faster than the little skin and body can handle, and so you get this splitting. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't ruin the tomato completely. You can still, once it gets ripe, eat it, enjoy it as you would. You just have to cut around the split parts, and of course look out for any weird bugs or mold or anything else that could be a problem. So I kind of nipped this in the bud. I'm really excited because I've been watering about half as much as I was watering to begin with, and the tomatoes are getting really nice and large, and I'm seeing less splitting. So I'm super happy about that. Glad I figured out how to remedy that problem before it was too late. The second type of tomato that is different this year that I'm growing that are very unique, this is Prairie Fire tomato, and I've posted some shorts about this. I purchased them just because they're so unique and beautiful, and these are a Baker Creek heirloom seed that I purchased just this year. There is a seed bank in Petaluma that has just a massive amount of their seeds. It's pretty overwhelming and inspiring and exciting. These ones have been also doing very well. I only have one plant that survived my whole seedling process, and it's actually fruiting pretty prolifically, which is great. I've had no problems with splittings or pests or anything like that. But here's one. This one is probably just about ready to eat at this point, and they are very sweet. They're not mealy. Just been really happy. The leaves and the stems are kind of more delicate, and it's just a really beautiful plant here. So the third one, that's also a Baker Creek variety, is this Queen of the Night. And I mean, how stunningly gorgeous is this tomato looking? So I could not resist buying these seeds, and unfortunately, again, I probably planted a lot more when I was starting my seeds and lost track of what was what. There's only one plant surviving. that's going. And this is what it looks like. I think I maybe harvested this too soon. You can see there's some green on the bottom. The rest of it is this really deep purple. It's right now feeling really rigid. And the other interesting thing is that the picture, it just doesn't, I mean, maybe the purple looks similar, but there's no of this sort of light yellow or reddish pinkish variation in the fruit. It's fine. It's just something interesting to note. One other thing that I've also learned can kind of help if the tomatoes are starting to split or get kind of funky is the minute they start to blush a little bit, you can harvest them, bring them indoors, and they will fully ripen on the counter. I have mine sitting on a windowsill in the kitchen, and it's kind of fun because I make a little rainbow arrangement. So I start them from the least ripe to the most ripe, and then I've just been going through and eating them. They've been really delicious and wonderful. But let me show you that in a minute. You can kind of see the progression. It's pretty fun. Another kind of funny thing that's been happening is I'm getting some mutations, and I think this is also from some overwatering, but this tomato, this is also a Cherokee purple, has a little Siamese twin, I would say. And then under here, this is commonly referred to as cat facing, this phenomenon. Again, it just looks kind of funky and weird, but doesn't affect the effectiveness of the tomato. It's still perfectly able to eat and delicious. This one is really interesting because the little Siamese twin is getting ripe slower than the rest of the tomato. So it's just constant entertainment here in the garden, and I'm feeling pretty confident about everything, especially with the tomatoes. I think that I would have done much better support system for the Cherokee purples because they just kind of grow in all different directions. I started off trying to use the Florida weave method to support them, and that just very quickly became kind of unmanageable. So I decided to stake them. So I have just all these kind of random stakes everywhere now. I have some other support systems underneath because some of the fruiting branches are just now basically resting on the soil in the bed, which is probably not the greatest thing. So it's a little overwhelming at this point. Every day I have to go in and kind of adjust my supports. I think in the future, I'll probably just do some sort of tomato cage around every plant, or just some sort of a stake situation that I can adjust. But nothing really catastrophic has happened, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to be able to share the tomatoes with friends. I'm eating tomatoes every day. I'm sure I might be kind of sick of them at a certain point pretty soon, but I'm glad that I've tried it, and that I am having an overabundance of the fruits of my labor here. So, which is kind of the point, I think. I had not had any cherry tomatoes this year, which is really sad. I did plant several seedlings. I transplanted them I started using 5-gallon grow bags this year, and they just have not done well at all. So who knows what is going on with that, but I'm gonna still keep trying to grow cherry tomatoes in upcoming seasons. I think that is pretty much it with the tomato update. Hopefully you've learned a few little things, seen some maybe varieties that you've never seen before. I am gonna keep you posted. I have not yet. I'm really curious about this Queen of the Night. I just don't think that it's ready to eat yet. I'm gonna give it a couple more days, and then I'll slice it up and see what it's like inside and how it tastes. But it's really beautiful. It's probably my favorite because it was a little bit of a surprise. Once I had transplanted the seedlings, I lost the label for it, and then these little beautiful, just really dark purple tomatoes emerged. So it was a happy little surprise there. Thanks for watching. I am glad that you're following along. My name is Nicole. This is Deer Diary Country Life. If you are into gardening, chicken keeping, life out in the country, then I'd be thrilled if you'd subscribe and follow along and keep watching. I'm happy to have you here. See you soon.